Hello everyone. So for some reason it took me a while to get my camera set up, but anyway, we're gonna edit that out so you won't see that all the frustration on my face. But I was like, what to do with this first recorded session for computer science, right? What to do? And I thought about it and I was like, why not work through Python and let you guys watch, because that's something you really have not seen yet. It's like me opening up a new Python file, working through the steps, seeing how it goes from start to finish. So let's create a Python file. Now, normally I'll probably do some stuff from the OHS, but I think this might be the most useful video for you to watch. I posted one earlier in the OHS, but almost no one watched it, so I'm going to post this one instead, and hopefully everybody watches it because it's more like a course that I'm sending out on Tuesday. So remember, you're getting 2 courses every single week. You're getting a live session on Thursdays and a recorded session on Tuesdays. So this is going to be fun, I think. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. So this is what I would do if I was going to create a Python file. So, and I have no idea if I remember how to do this this Python. I have some old notes that I wrote over here to my left, but I have no idea if this is going to work. But let's take a look. I also have the Python documentation up, which I'll actually look into at some point and let you see what it looks like to look through the Python documentation. So I've opened up my IDLE here, and then I'm going to go to File, and I'm going to go to New File. So we have our blank text editor. So this is where I can do all my Python work. We've seen this before, hopefully, unless you haven't done your Unit 2 activities, and if you haven't, that's a problem. So the first thing, and I'm going to be a little bit more detailed about what I'm actually doing in this video as well. So the first thing I need to do is import the Turtle library. So, and I just did that wrong. So from Turtle, import everything. Now, these little keyboard shortcuts like the asterisk, for example, in Python, allow us to say things like all things without having to do this. Now remember, this is not the best practice. Normally you just want to import the modules or the parts of the module that you want specifically, but since Turtle Graphics really isn't that big anyway, and let's be honest, we're not solving the world crisis with like world crises. Anyway, with Turtle Python, doesn't matter. So import everything from the Turtle module. So remember, all this is saying is that, hey, there's a file out there called Turtle, and it has all these amazing functions. I want to use them in my Turtle, in my program that I'm about to write. So first thing we want to do is let's put some comments in. Now, most of you probably aren't putting comments for some of this stuff, but go ahead and start practicing it. So I would maybe put a comment here that says, let me use the Turtle library. I got a new keyboard yesterday too, so it's like if it looks like I'm typing a little slower, for some reason, I don't know, this new keyboard, it feels different, but anyway. So from Turtle, import everything. So we're bringing in the entire Turtle module. And now the next thing I want to do is I want to change the colors of my Turtle. Now there's a really easy function in Turtle called color. And remember, that's what's really cool about not only Python, but the Python modules that people have built. We try, and I say we because I'm considered a Python developer at some point in my career. We try to create readable programming, readable coding. Now, like what you're gonna realize is when you start working with C# and Java, is not everybody's that nice. But Python coders tend to try to make their stuff readable and easy to remember. So let's go ahead and put red as a color, and then let's go ahead and put yellow as a color as well. So let's do that. All right. So we've selected 2 different colors here. Now this would be an error because I forgot to put my second thing, and you'll see and this is a good behind the scenes look at watching someone who's coded for a really long time code, and you're gonna feel a lot better about yourself, how you're always backspacing and stuff, because I still do it. I mean, it is what it is, especially when I'm programming something that I haven't done in a really long time. All right, so we're gonna put down another function, another popular Turtle function called begin fill. Okay, so now begin fill is now what this means. Like remember, when we write out the name of a function and then we give it some kind of argument, which is like right here, or no argument at all, we're calling this function. So this function's already been written for us. It's within inside that Turtle module, and then we're going to call it into existence. So we're saying, hey, run this thing. So we were running the begin fill function. Now The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a little bit of a loop. So you will learn this later. It's called a while loop. And in Python, I can't type. In Python, while true creates a while loop. And so what this is saying is, okay, while a certain condition is true, all right, I want you to do blank. Okay, so I'm just saying while true. Now, what that means, if it's always true, means that this is just going to run forever. Okay, until I give it some kind of break, it's just going to run forever. Now remember, we're going to learn while loops and for loops and all that good stuff as we go, but this is like a cool preview into some a little bit more advanced Python stuff. And I remember, like I said, I remember creating this program, I mean, years ago whenever I started programming with Python. So it's a pretty common one to teach people how to program with, Turtle. So the first thing we want to do is, while our condition is true, which it is because it's true, we actually designated true. Now remember, if I could, in theory, I could change this to false, and then I could write all the code I wanted. It's not going to do anything because while false, right? It's false. Or I could also put like while 2 equals 2 here. That'd be fine as well because 2 does equal 2, so it's going to run. But let's just keep it simple for Python, and let's just say true. So we're going to say forward 200 pixels. All right. And remember that argument for forward is 200. And really the fun thing about Python, remember, is no punctuation. So I don't have to put a lot of punctuation in. Not a lot of colons, semicolons, arrows, designation marks. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you will later. But we don't have to put it, which is really nice. Next thing I want to do is I wanted to make a left turn of 170 degrees. So make a turn of 170 degrees. So as you've already noticed as you're listening to me rant and going through this video, is arguments are different, okay? So the color function takes in arguments, string arguments, and they have to be names of colors that it has in its database. Now, forward 200, this is 200 pixels, okay? But left 170, this 170 is 170 degrees. All right, so remember, the arguments aren't always the same. Just because you put them into a function, it's determined, like what the function is determines what type of argument that you need to take. Now, I'm going to use this opportunity to show you an easy way to find out just what you need. So let's go and let's just type in Python documentation in Google. So here we go. Here's some Python. Here's my 3.6 documentation. You can look at the documentation for any version you like as long as it matches yours from 3 to 2. So remember, 3 works with all versions of 3. 2 works with all versions of 2. They don't like each other, okay? So let's just search. Let's do a quick search and let's find the forward function. So let's come forward and let's find it. So turtle.forward, there we go. So we don't have to do dot because we're not designating a name for our turtle. Now, we could designate a name for our turtle, and you will do that later in the year. You'll start naming your turtles, which sounds funny, but it's true. You'll start naming your turtles because you're going to have more than one. But whenever you just have one, don't worry about it. So here we go. We have parameters. So we have a little bit of right here is where you could copy and paste the code into your program. So you could actually just bring it in there. Here's an alternative way to type it. So FD would also work, not just forward. You could also type in FD. Most Turtle functions have an alternative way to type it. It's called quick code. I don't like to use quick code even though I do know Python. I just don't like it. I like to write it out. It's easier to read. And then it tells you what the parameters are. Parameter, distance, a number, integer, or float. And now this is interesting. So I'm like, oh, so I don't have to just put 176 or 100 or whatever for my distance. I could actually put a float variable, which you're going to learn what that is in this unit. But what a float variable is a number with like a decimal place. So that's interesting. So not only can I designate 100 pixels, I could designate 100.26 pixels, which can make you be very precise when using the forward function. Now then if you scroll down, there's going to be a lot of other things that are kind of related to forward. But basically this is all the information you need for forward right here. See, we have backwards, which is kind of a related function, so you can even go back. So anyway, this is really cool. Okay, so remember, the Python documentation has everything you would ever want to know about Python and way more. All right, but for now, we're gonna keep rolling with this. All right, so now we're gonna create something called an if statement. Now remember, this is well beyond what you've learned so far, but we're gonna put an if statement inside of our while statement. So we're checking twice. We're saying, okay, while true, which it is because we told it was true. While true, I want you to go forward 200 and left 170. Then I want you to check another condition. Okay, so now let's check this. We're going to check absolute value, and this is another function that and actually this is cool. So sometimes your IDLE will give you these little hints, and you can just be like, oh, interesting, and thank Python for that because that's nice. So it's going to return the absolute value of the argument that you put in here. So if I put 7, it's going to return 7. If I put -7, it's going to return 7. So that would, your math teachers will like that. So, but let's return the absolute value of POS. Boop. All right. Wait. This new keyboard is killing me. POS. All right. And that is going to be what I'm going to put inside my argument. I'm not going to tell you what that means yet. Less than 1. Okay. And doop. All right. So that is an if statement. We've created our first if statement. So inside of our while statement, after we run forward 200, left 170, then we're going to say, check this. If absolute of positive is less than 1, okay, of the POS function, and I just, you know what? This would be a good assignment for you. Go look that up in the Python documentation so you know what it does. There you go. There, I taught you something, and now I'm checking for understanding. So go look at it. And that's what a good teacher does. So then I'm going to break. All right. So what I'm saying is, if the absolute value of the positive function is less than 1, okay? If it is, I want you to stop. I want you to quit doing this. And what that will do is it'll exit us out of this. It's going to break us out of our while function. It's going to break us out of our if statement, and we're going to go back to regular real-time coding. All right, now I'm going to run another function called infill. All right, this is pretty self-explanatory. It's the opposite of the begin fill. Okay, so begin fill starts to do something, which you'll see whenever I run the program. Infill does the opposite of that begin fill. So I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to use a function called done. Again, a function you have never used or heard of, but it's really useful, and you'll see later. It's kind of like the reset function, but it doesn't reset. Yeah. So, but this is a Python program. This is a good little program. Like I said, this is one of the first programs you'll write. If you take a Python course in college, which I encourage some of you to do so, this is one of the first programs you'll write. It's found in the Python documentation. It's pretty popular. But this is how we create it. So now let's save it and let's run it, and we'll see if it's any fun. So file, save as. All right. So I'm a big fan of saving, and there was my alex.cool.py. Did you see that? That was one that we worked on in class. I'll delete that one for you. So I'm a big fan of saving everything to my desktop. Don't do that. It's terrible. It's a terrible habit to get into, but I'm going to do it anyway. So I'm going to save this to my desktop as Alex is cool, so we'll go ahead and save it. No, you know what? Let's just do something. How about Python star, and you'll see why it's called Python star in just a second. Python star, and remember, always type .py. If you're using version 2, you don't have to do that. If you're using version 3, for some reason, you have to type in the .py, all right? So here we go. I'm going to save it to my desktop, and let's run this thing. Now, remember, there's 2 ways to run it. You can go to run and then run the module, but I'm going to run it the other way this time just because there's been some confusion on the alternative way. So let's hit the X. Let's get out of our IDLE. It's gone. We're done programming. But here it is. It's saved to my desktop, which is awesome. And I'm going to double click it to run it just like it was a program. Okay, so double click, and here goes my Python function. So you're going to see this play out here. And so I'm going to describe kind of what's going on here while it's doing it. And maybe I'll rerun it after it's done. So one of the things that's happening is, I'll maybe run it again while I can talk because it's really cool looking. So one of the things, it turns red and yellow. So it's stored these 2 colors that we want to use. We did that in the beginning. And now it's just running through our while loop. Okay. So all it's saying is it's going 100 pixels. Then it's turning 170, going 100 pixels, turning 170. But after those 2 steps, and this is the big important part. This is the part that if you barely listened to me this whole time, make sure you get this part of it. So what it's doing is it's going 100 pixels. It's turning 170 and coming back. and it's checking to see if its location is the same as the beginning. All right, as it's just checking to see if it has not been there before. Okay, if it gets to the location that it started at, which is where it stops, that's when that break happens that we wrote into the program. So after it runs, and remember, you may think just because we programmed such a small thing, it's only checking this stuff one time. But it's actually every single time you see this thing running, it's checking the code again. It's checking, it's checking, it's checking. So this is happening very fast. So you're seeing 3 commands run every single time this thing darts back and forth. 3 commands, 3 commands, 3 commands. And then at the end, it runs our fill function, those little fills, and it fills it in with our pretty colors. Okay, so I mean, this is a lot of fun. This is one, like I said, I remember thinking whenever I was younger running this program, I just thought it was so neat. So I really wanted to share that with you. So let's do one more thing on this video, and then I'll release it to you and you can have fun with it. Okay, so I'm gonna right click on my Python star.py. I'm gonna go to edit with IDLE, and I'm gonna edit it with 3.6 just because that's what I wrote it with originally. And I'm going to change one of the colors. So let's just change this color to blue. Now, there's a lot of colors stored in Python. So that's another thing you can find in the Python documentation. Remember, the turtle module is a pretty popular module. That's why it's included in the Python documentation. So let's hit Control S to save. This time I'm going to run it from the IDLE just to have it on the recording. Run module. And let's see what happens. And so as you can see, same thing runs, but this time it's going to fill in our turtle with green and blue and change it, checking to see if it's been to that location before. Every time it says, nope, I haven't, it's going to run it again. But once it's on its starting point, it exits out of the program and we have this beautiful, cool little shape. Okay, so a lot of fun, cool little programming thing. Play around with it, change some dimensions, change some stuff. And we can do that really quick. Let's just change. I mean, let's just go crazy. Let's change this to 250. Even better. Let's just change it to 50. Let's get real crazy, and let's change this to like 130. I have no idea how this is gonna affect it, but you'll be doing a very similar project to this later in the year. So let's run that. But there you go. Look at that. Changes it a little bit. All right. So it looks like there's gonna be a lot more steps. I wonder if it's ever gonna get back. Is it ever gonna get back to the beginning? There it is. So that was cool. All right, so play around with this a little bit. Hopefully this not only gives some of the more advanced or the more students that are more ahead in class a little chance to do something fun and enriching. Enriching, is that right? But if you're not, then just pay attention to how I created the Python file, how I saved it, how I ran it. All these little details are going to be great for the rest of the year. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This is kind of how I'll do most of my recording sessions, just kind of hanging out with me, showing you some of my master programming skills. So good luck with this. Send me some feedback, send me some emails, let me know how you do with it. If you have trouble with it, let me know and I will definitely help you out. Other than that, have a great day and I will see you Thursday morning at 8:30 a.m.